Hi, this is Osman. I'm an energy healer, yoga and meditation teacher, and also an entrepreneur. Be sure to visit my website, yogawellness786.com, where you may get more resources, contact information, and also interesting discussions on contemporary problems with solutions from modern day scientific innovations, advancements, as well as a combination from the ancient sciences perspective. And please remember, our therapies are all natural, based on ancient sciences and a holistic approach. However, they are not a replacement for medical treatment. If you have a medical condition, be sure to seek or consult with a qualified and licensed medical professional in your locality. Today, I want to discuss a subject and a question which I feel even to this day is not being answered properly or sufficiently. Actually, I never find a proper answer, and it took me decades and upon decades before myself finding how to do it. But yet, there was a discussion of it, commonly in the yoga and meditation sector, and that is transmutation of your sexual energy. How to transmute? What is the mechanics and step by step process how one could transmute the energy, converting your physical or your sexual energy into spiritual energy, right? So they call the sexual energy into the spiritual energy called ojas. So, I mean, it was something that confounded me. And eventually, after, by trial and error, and, automatically it started to happen. And when it initially started to happen, I didn't even know it was happening. And later on, many decades later, I realized what was happening and understood how to physically control it. So, firstly, in not anyone, a regular person cannot go and convert his energy, his sexual energy or physical energy into spiritual energy. It's not possible, right? So um, there might be very rare cases, but he might not know what he's doing and physically and consciously be able to do it, right? So your sense of being alive, your sense of being energetic, your sense of being aggressive, when you are a go-getter, when you have that spirit that you want to wake up and get things done and do things, and you want to hop, skip, and jump out of bed, is when your physical energy or your sexual energy levels are in its higher levels. When you're feeling down, you're feeling tired, you're feeling like you don't really want to do anything, you're feeling negative, you're feeling depressed, and this, then it means your physical or sexual energy is lower, right? So this energy, up and down, increasing it and decreasing it, is closely linked to increasing and decreasing your subtle life force energy, which is called chi in Chinese, or prana, in the Vedantic sense, right? And how does one increase this energy? How can you increase your sexual energy or your physical energy, right? So yoga and meditation is a tool that automatically helps you to increase it by default, whether you know how to do it or don't know how to do it, right? So one of the primary ways is through to have knowledge where the energy is available. It's of course available everywhere in the universe, and through the interspaces of atoms and spatial matter. It's what makes everything tick, revolve, move, makes atoms, vibrate, and electrons to spin around. And anything with motion or activity, is a symptom of life. Even decay is a symptom of, the decay bacteria and germs, proliferating and doing their work, right? And it's like a type of increase in their sense, but for the original matter that is busy decaying, it is reverse or decomposing, right? Reversing in its composition. So also you can get this life force energy and so forth into you through eating food, right? But if you don't eat food, you're gonna dwindle away. Your energy level's gonna get low, and you're gonna become, less energetic with the passage of time. And after about 30 or 40 days of not eating food at all, it's going to be your last few days, right? Somewhere in that range or slightly more, right? Depending on each individual. Then you can also get it through drinking water, right? So when you consume liquids, right, you can have an energy drink. It's got energy in it, but pure water, if you can get water from its source, so you get these bottled waters, right? Mineral water, and some of it's advertising bottled from its source. So if you had the opportunity to travel very often or go to a fresh river stream and be able to drink from it pure clean water, some of the rivers are very dangerous. Don't try it, don't try it with the children, or just try a little. But if you go to nice natural environments where there is fresh pure water flowing and you try drinking from that, it tastes more energizing. And if you can go to an area like Tibet, it's an isolated area towards the mountains, and you find a source river where it's got pure and amazing clean clear water, and try drinking from that, drinking just like a half a glass of water from that river, you will feel you're not even feeling hungry for about 8 hours. You feel energized, you can walk, you can go hiking just from half a glass of water, right? So it is much richer in chi or energy or subtle life force energy or prana, right? In that particular area, which hopefully it remains untainted and gives everyone the opportunity to go out there and taste it from its source, right? So you put it in a bottle and bring it, it's going to decrease in its value, right? Then you can also get it in the air that you breathe. Try stop breathing, right? It's not gonna, of course, you need oxygen to breathe, but you get sometimes the air is fresher than other places. If you go to a park, you feel more energized when you come out of it. When you spend time near trees, you get more energized. So the air can be more energizing or less energizing, right? So when you're doing yoga postures, what you're practicing, one of the things is balancing the different subtle life force energy systems within your body, balancing it so that they are in a state of balance or homeostasis, so that the energy in your head region balances with the energy in your chest region, it balances with the energy in your abdominal region and the lower abdominal region, the lower abdominal and leg region is one, and you get a general energy system that permeates the whole body, which is separate from the individual energy systems as well. So these are the 5 categories of the energy systems: the Udana Vayu, Apana Vayu, Samana Vayu, Prana Vayu, and Vyana Vayu, right? Udana Vayu, neck and head upwards. Apana Vayu, from your navel downwards. Samana Vayu, your solar plexus region, between your navel and your solar plexus region. And Prana Vayu, your chest region. And Vyana Vayu, that which pervades and permeates the entire body and brings about balance for the whole body, and also helps with the circulation of energy and circulation, your circulatory system, and maintaining the overall temperature of your body and so forth, right? So these are generally not in balance unless you can physically know how to balance it, and yoga postures helps you to balance it, right? So these pranas and so forth are the various subtle life force energies that are present that you can take and transmute it into spiritual energy or ojas, and raise it up your spine and let it to collect at the top of your head. So you bring it up, and let it fill your head. This is transmutation of, they call it the sexual energy, or transmutation of your energy, your physical energy, into a subtle life force energy. and they associate it with with the presence of your sexual energy, because your sexual energy is a symptom of your life force energy. The younger you are, the more in the prime of your life you are, the greater your sexual energy is. So there's a direct relation between age and someone who's 20 years old and someone who's 50 years old. And if that same person, you measure his testosterone level when he's 20 years old, it is significantly higher than when he's 50 years old. And they state that the testosterone levels generally and naturally decline an average of 10% every 10 years, like 1% every year. 50 years later, you lost 50% on average. Depending how you maintain yourself, your decline could be minimized, or it could be much more than that, right? So that physical energy level which is present in your body, you can convert it into spiritual energy, and after the practice of 1 hour or 2 hours, you feel you are totally depleted in your energy. You've got like no energy left, right? So where did energy go? You converted it, the physical energy, into a spiritual energy. And this is how there are many monks, they are taken the vow of celibacy from a young age, and they're able to maintain that. And you wonder, how on earth are these guys managing to live, a life of a monk? So the current monks in in the Western religions, or the Christian and the Judeo-Christian religions, they have difficulty in maintaining their celibacy over a long period of time, over a 50-year period of time. But you find the Buddhist monks, or the Indian sannyasis, they are much more successful than the Western monks. Not that everyone is maintaining celibacy secretly. They are masturbating, or engaging in secret sexual encounters, right? But some of them, they're not doing that, and they're able to control it. And wouldn't that be an amazing thing, that you don't have to depend on giving vent or release to your lustful surge of lustful desires in your body, which gets out of control, right? It gets out of control if you don't find some avenue of release. So instead of letting it release externally, you can release it internally and convert it into spiritual energy, which means increasing your mind power and your power of focus, your power of concentration, your power of manifestation, your power of creating things, getting things done your way, your energeticness. This is what that spiritual energy gives you: more spiritual power, mind power, power of manifestation, because it is collecting in the brain center, right, at the top of your head, and it is improving your mind capacity, or your intellectual capacity. Your memory function also improves, right, proportionately as you're increasing it. So how do you mechanically go about doing this? So step number one is you have to awaken or loosen your kundalini, or dormant life force energy, from power saver mode to active mode spiritually. So this is done very commonly by spiritual masters that are already awakened and know how to do this. So people seek initiation. Initiation is not some form of dark or occult practice with some incantations and so forth. No, it is like starting up. It means exactly what the word says: initiating, or starting, or kick-starting your spiritual energy. Now it was dormant, and suddenly when I pass my spiritual energy into you, and I'm doing it normally through the forehead region, or I can place my hand at the base of your spine where this thing is lying dormant, or I can do it telepathically, right? I can awaken it in you telepathically. I can think of you, focus on you, and instruct my energy to go there and awaken your energy. So you will when it's awakened, you will feel like a surge of electricity, or you'll see a flash of white light in your mind's eye, a bright white light that can appear, in your forehead region or in your mind's eye, that you don't know whether you imagined it or not, because it's not physically there, not in the physical dimension, but it seems so real and vivid that it seems it wasn't something you thought about or imagined. So actually it is there, real, but in a different dimension, not in a physical dimension that you know of. It is in the energetic dimension. It is one level higher than your physical body dimension or the physical universe dimension, and one level lower than your mind dimension, right? So you get 5 dimensions in the physical construct in the yoga sciences, and in the Western sciences, they only are aware of one dimension, and in quantum physics they are experimenting and have knowledge of the second dimension, the quantum dimension, the quantum physics dimension, right? The mind bending. So they are unable to scientifically calculate or pinpoint the mind direction. They don't know where the mind or consciousness or current level of consciousness exists. This is the third dimension. And the fourth dimension is your ethereal body dimension, or the higher intelligence dimension, which is completely inactive, dormant. You, through uplifting your spiritual energy and raising it and storing it in your head region, and when the power level reaches a critical mass level, the level where it lights the fuse and can explode, right? So your power isn't enough. Like when your battery is low, you're trying to start the car, and the olden days car that needed, a starter to start. It needs like a boost of energy to give the engine, to crank the engine to give it a start. So otherwise it cannot. Like if you look at an outboard motor for a boat, you pull the string to kickstart it. If you don't pull it, if you pull it softly, it's not going to start, right? So if you don't have enough power stored in your head, it's not going to snap open or kickstart the higher intelligence. Once it's reached a sufficient critical mass level, which can take on average 30 to 50 years, right? Not less than 10 years, right? To build of daily practice, right? If you following a disciplined practice of, let's say, 10 hours of meditation a day, it's possible that in 10 years, 20 years, possible that you can awaken that. Maybe in 50 years. It depends on, every person is different, depending on the level that they currently are on, how low they are. So some people have already come to a level, naturally to a higher level, so it's easier for them to develop and awaken it. So this must be awakened and initialized, the spiritual energy, by a third person or yourself, through techniques, through yoga postures. Practice of regular yoga postures generally will shake up or loosen that energy, making it easier for it to awaken. And usually people who practice Hatha yoga regularly, it is very normal, those who are practicing it for 2 to 5 years consistently, it is very normal that they have unusually higher levels of sexual energy, right? Because the life force energy is loosened, and that higher levels is starting to seep in, but it hasn't formally been awakened, right? And through certain pranayama practices and dietary practices, as well as modus operandi, or the way in which you do things and make decisions, your thought processes, you're usually associated with your ethics, your level of compassion, level of forgiveness, and your level of love that's naturally in you, and charity, and you're developing these higher senses, these higher thought processes, considered higher: forgiveness, love, gratitude, charity, positivity, positive things. These are higher, it encourages the awakening of this energy, right? So you can do it through thought process, through combination of hatha yoga, and also physically there is a scientific way to physically do it from your home without taking the help of a third party through a type of pranayama discipline, pranayama practice that's geared towards awakening it on your own. And then once it's awakened, you've awakened it, it feels like an explosion of energy, that is massive explosion of energy in you. Or some people feel a trickle of that energy because it is very low levels in you, and you can only touch into it very lightly, but you'll feel the trickle of that energy in some people, right? So they feel it either as a trickle, but normal to feel it as an explosive. So if you're doing all the other practices correctly, combining the awakening of that energy in a holistic manner, then it will explode forth, because you have built it up over time holistically, and that its level is very high and ripe for opening. When it's not ripe for opening and you're trying to awakening, it will awaken very slowly and gradually. And depending on your holistic approaches and practices, it will also slow down the development or increase the development, right? So this is the first step. It must be initialized through one of the various methods as discussed. And then after that, when you meditate, you will feel the energy rising up your spine when you're meditating. You feel like a magnetic pull coming up and creating eventually towards the forehead. Eventually you'll find like each energy center along the spine, like a magnetic pulling, action in that region, or like something is spinning. You feel like something like circulating and moving and spinning in that region along your spine. In terms of the locality, where you can go online and check the 7 major chakras, in those regions, you'll find there's a pulling force, or a magnetic force, or a spinning force, right? And it starts to become stronger and move up the spine. It's in a different locality as that life force energy is moving up your spine. Eventually it reaches the top of your head and fills up, and then once it reaches the top of the head, then it starts again from the bottom on a slightly higher level, and it goes through each level of chakra on the slightly higher level, and then when it reaches the top, it starts again from the bottom on the next increment level higher, right? And it keeps increasing in increment until the power levels increases and increases and increases. And this perception of this energy that is going from the base of your spine and moving up through the various chakras and filling the top of your head, this is the transmutation of your spiritual energy into your physical energy into spiritual energy, your sexual energy into ojas, right? The energy called ojas. And through a special type of kriya that is based on pranayama, you can fast forward and greatly increase the speed with which you can do this by between 10 to 1,000 times faster, right? And when one learns this practice, right, then your progress in meditation is exponentially and equally proportionately increased, right? So as opposed to spending 10 to 12 hours a day of meditation, you can make faster progress by just doing 20 minutes a day than someone who don't know the special kriya, how to fast forward the transmutation of this energy. You can maximize the use of your time, that you can live a normal life, right, and have your job or your business, and of course improving in success because your spiritual power is increasing, right? So it shows in your capacity to earn more, or improve decisions, or improving your influence, and the strength of your business, and your aura, as well as your relationships, and your health improves. Everything improves, everything, not just spiritual. Your financial acumen grows, your popularity grows, your physical energy levels grows, your social influence grows, everything grows proportionately and exponentially when you learn these sciences. This is the transmutation. So yoga science, as a summary, is a tool on being able to efficiently carry out transmutation of physical energy into spiritual energy. That's the bottom line of what you're doing, right? In order to awaken your higher levels of consciousness, your fourth and fifth levels, because you are by default awake in your physical body. By default, whether you're awake or not awake, your energies are in operation, right? You are living, you are breathing, your heart is beating, right? You have energy that's converted from your physical body, from external sources into, utilization by your body, and from your sense, your psychological sense, and your levels of energeticness, right? So your pranas are active, and you just don't understand it. Once you understand it, you learn how to control it and manipulate. This is energy healing. I know how to grow it, and I know how to control it, and I know how to transfer it effectively and telepathically into any third party by will, and send it to them, and I get depleted of the energy, and I know how to grow it again. If I sit in meditation, automatically I connect to the universal consciousness and automatically download. I can sit for 20 minutes and download. I can do 14 hours of energy healing, healing people non-stop, maybe about 10 or 15 people, 90 minutes each, or 1 hour each, and taking like almost no break in between. And when my energy levels are really in its peak, and then feel totally drained, and go sit for 20 minutes and ready to go for another 14 hours from the 20 minutes of recharging, right? So usually people who understand how to recharge, they usually know how to sleep more effectively, means don't need as much sleep as the regular people. But this is a very dangerous grail to cross. I'm practicing for a very long time, and I know how to transmute my energy, not only on the normal level as what professional meditators do it, but I'm doing it in a much higher level, because I can transmutate it at a much faster rate, up to 1,000 times faster than the Buddhist monks that are sitting in meditation practice for 10 to 12 hours a day, right? And I can do it in a few minutes what takes them weeks and months to do, right? I can achieve and do in few minutes, because I learned these strategies and I'm practicing it for long, and I was dedicated to doing it. So this is, hope this don't confuse you more. Try to explain it in a way that it was never explained to me, nor have I seen it explained anywhere online or in any books, the way I'm explaining to you, in a simplified, holistic, and complete manner, and with practical takeaways on how you can do it on your own as well. And but to physically, what's the mechanics behind it, so you understand what's how you have to go about doing it, right? And be sure to visit my website, yogawellness786.com.